and a bro fist to you all. Welcome once again to our Friday night seminar where we go through all the japes and fun that has been happening around the internet world during your lives since you managed to gain access to the internet. What a joyous occasion it was where it communicated with every person on the planet capable of owning some way of accessing a phone line. And now we come together to relish in the nightmare world it created for some people. The horrors, the hatred that happened, the badness, the terrible things, the awfulness, and also the fun and silly things that go along with it. We've had an extraordinary week here. We have completed Final Fantasy VII. For now, Emerald Weapon calls to me. It calls to me in a deep, dark way. Emerald Weapon yearns to die. And I believe we should probably return at some point and bring down the Emerald Weapon, considering I put 3 hours into it, dramatically underleveled, containing no materia, but we almost got there. We almost got there. We fudged it, we manipulated it, we did whatever we could, we learned the mechanics. Ruby Weapon I haven't even seen. I haven't even seen it. And then one thing I'm definitely not doing is breeding chocobos. I am not breeding chocobos. I don't care if the reward is magnificent and everything that you would ever desire came true. I am not going to be breeding chocobos in order to make the dream come true. I'm not. But we have been running a September as Twitch is offering cheaper subscriptions this month. And along that, we've had a number of goals to go along with it, and many more are unlocked, which are going to be happening in the next couple of weeks, including a cook-off with my wife from the official Final Fantasy XIV cookbook. Today, the unlocking of dyeing my hair. Dyeing my newly acquired hair will be taking place at some point. It will be in a couple of weeks. I have to do some on-camera stuff for some other people, which means having dyed hair or perhaps a stained forehead would not be idyllic for those commitments that I have. But once it's possible, we will be doing it. I do need to discuss with my wife how that's going to happen. We have a Rex Tyson workout, which will be happening next week as well. I have horse riding that I must take part in. But it turns out I'm too big for what is considered the average horse. And therefore, Emma is desperately trying to find some sort of monolithic creature which probably belongs in some episode of a fantasy TV show, some beast from the heavens that I can ride. Perhaps it will be a corehound, I don't know, some sort of rhinoceros creature that I will be upon, probably something like 8 feet fucking off the ground or whatever the hell it might be. I'm going to be riding Clifford's big red fucking tank at some point. In order to fulfill my commitments to you guys. But, as always, this isn't just a case of give me money. There are some wonderful, wonderful things that you're going to see in the next couple of weeks that are top secret right now. But pretty expensive, but absolutely well worth it. And I cannot wait to share with you what those things are. I just can't tell you what they are right now. I can't do that. But let's just say I think you will be pretty impressed. With what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be good. Definitely sounds like a shy horse. Yeah, probably. Probably something along those lines. But that's not why you're here right now. It is drama time. And in front of me, I have 4 stories, of which we will make a selection, because post-drama time today, we will be concluding the other sub-goal that was reached, which is watching Arcane along with you guys. We've been doing a watch-along for the past week or so, and it will be the finale tonight, immediately after drama. We will be jumping into Arcane's final 3 episodes, its final chapters, to see how it resolves and how it finishes up. It's going to be pretty fucking good. Big old long stream today, but it's going to be pretty awesome, actually. It started off very, very well. Midsection, meh. Midsection a bit meh. Some mixed thoughts in the middle, but we'll see how the finale works out. So, I did tease this last week. So if you don't know, a couple of weeks ago, we played a game called Mortuary Assistant. And it's a horror game and definitely has some interesting sound effects, I would say. Interesting sound effects that go along with that game and asks you to do some rather seemingly distasteful yet necessary things that must happen to us once we leave this world. And during that, I made a quip of, I wonder if anybody from our wonderful audience, which is spread across the entire world, actually does work at a funeral home. Turns out, of course, you do. Turns out, of course, you do. As I pointed out at PreachCon, the eclectic mix of our audience ranges from multiple professors all the way to people working in the porn industry. We have everything and everything in between. And of course, one of you is a funeral assistant. So this might get a little gross, but in all fairness, following this, we do have the description Bex has given me. Our wonderful Bex, who goes through your stories, so I get to read them blind because I want to share in the journey with you guys. Says we have a story about a wife making a contract with her gamer husband. And he kind of wants our help on whether or not we agree with the rules and conditions set down by his wife as to whether he should sign it. So we have a judgment call to make today, which may have long-lasting ramifications for a member of our audience. So we'll have to see how that goes. We will be the judges and the jurors of whether or not this is going to happen. It's not a guilty, non-guilty situation, but we'll see. So no names required to this. Fair warning to anyone listening. There's a couple of parts of this that are a little gross, but there's no visuals to go along with it. So if you're imaginative, perhaps you will end up in trouble. Thank you so much, Lulani. Thank you very much for that. Hello, Preacher, and the wall of unblinking smiles known as your chat. The unblinking smilers. I write to you today from the only place as rainy and miserable as the United Kingdom that you call home. Seattle, Washington. I'll have you know, thanks to the glory and the guidance of global warming, the UK is not rainy and miserable anymore. It's changed and is changing year on year, I'll have you know. So you watch your mouth, sir. You watch your mouth. We are boiling our country and our rivers are drying up and yeah. To be completely honest, I have never really seen much in-game drama, as I tend to keep to myself, and I play MMOs basically as single-player games. My only experience with guilds is that my friend invited me to his free company in Final Fantasy XIV about a year ago, which I joined, said hello, and then immediately muted the free company chat. I have never unmuted it, and I only remained there so I could soak up the free experience buff. Jesus Christ, dude. You might have met some really nice friends. Perhaps you would have ended up traveling and meeting them and making close acquaintances that you're going to be surprised. You don't need to just mute your chat. That's not a Giga Chad maneuver. There's some good people. I have never unmuted it. For all I know, I could be the only person that's active in the guild. But as long as my buffs are still on my bar, I don't really give a shit. Okay. That being said, though, your recent stream of Mortuary Assistant inspired me to write in, as I work at a funeral home as an assistant for a summer, which involved all sorts of weird stories, as well as a bit of real, genuine drama from the real world. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was introduced to this job during my junior year of high school. As far as I know, that's the equivalent of year 12 in the UK. So that would be 14? Year 12? Right? Yes, 14, 15, 16, 17. 6th form, 15, 16. Okay. My mother was taking a death studies class. Death studies class. What is that? Death, dying, and bereavement. This course, okay. Oh god, I need a darker voice for this. What shapes understandings of death and dying? How does this affect the experiences of dying people, bereaved people, those who work with them and their carers? In this course, you will explore the social context of death and dying, considering the impact on end-of-life care and bereavement support. You'll engage with real-life examples which will enable you to think critically about how practice in this area can be improved. This course is relevant to those working with dying people and their families, or anyone who wants to find out more about death, dying, and bereavement from an academic study point of view. Sounds interesting, actually. Genuinely sounds pretty interesting. Okay. Basically, you learn about how different cultures view death, if I remember correctly. She was doing this at her community college and went on a field trip to a local funeral home. Yay. That sounds fun. While there, she asked one of the employees if they were hiring. And they said they were looking for assistants, as shockingly, not many people apply to work with the dead, despite the fact that you basically have guaranteed job security. I signed up for a job the next day and went in. I was admittedly pretty nervous. I had never seen a dead body before, and even though the hardcore gamer in me would have boasted that years spent watching people's heads explode in Fallout made me invulnerable to being squeamish, I didn't know how things would actually play out in the real world. Within an hour of showing up for the job, I saw my first dead body being prepared for cremation. It was simply surreal. Part of me felt like this should be a profound experience, coming face to face with the final moment of every human. But as I looked down, my honest, genuine thought, as I saw that cold corpse on the table, was, their head's a bit lumpy. It looks a bit like an orange that someone threw at a wall. Deep. Momentous. Remembering. It was in this supremely underwhelming moment that I realized two things. One, death really truly didn't actually bother me that much. And two, I might be missing some crucial empathetic aspects of being human. You did mute everybody who wanted to play games with you. So there might be some correlation between you being welcomed into a community and immediately shutting that door as quickly as humanly possible, and also not bothering about the death lying on the table. I had a pretty good rest of the day, honestly. I was shadowing someone for my job, but I couldn't be hired as I wasn't actually 18 yet. So a year later, after I had turned 18 and graduated from high school, I applied for the actual job, which I got thanks to the people there already knowing and liking me. And of course, as we said, not many other people applying for this kind of job. My duties while there primarily revolved around 4 areas: cleaning out our limousines and hearses between funeral services, using our company vans to pick up dead bodies from around town at hospitals, hospices, residences, etc., preparing bodies for funerals and cremating them, including the pre-cremation prep and post-cremation processing. Isn't that just sweeping up? I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I would have thought that post-cremation processing was just kind of brushing them into a box, right? Isn't it just dust? I think you have to take the handles and stuff out. Yeah, a bit like a chimney sweep. Just like in the game Mortuary Assistant, though, we did a lot of work in preparing those bodies. Mostly for open casket funerals. We would wire their jaws shut, just like in the game. I'll be honest with you, a lot of dead bodies that come in look exactly like the slack-jawed undead from WoW. Don't make death funny. Don't make death funny. But we would also do things like placing curved plates underneath their eyelids, since your eyes dry out and sink in after death, and filling their veins with pink dye to give them a more lifelike skin color. Is that how they do it? No way. This is really interesting. They just dye the fluid in the veins, so it gives you a nice glow. YouTube it? Nah. Pass. It's pretty grim and gross out of context, but it's all done to give someone's deceased relative an appearance more in line with resting in peace than World of Warcraft character. That's fair. I never personally had to hook anyone up for draining blood, but it was still something that has to be done since after death your blood tends to follow gravity and pool in whatever area your body is facing down, giving the top part of your body the appearance of a pale raisin and the bottom part the appearance of a swollen tomato. Well, wouldn't that only happen if you stood up? I would have thought you got a fat back and like a big flooded ass. No? Isn't that how it would work? Because you'd be laid down, right? You wouldn't be, like, stood. People being cremated didn't need nearly as much work done. After all, why bother? The main thing you had to do was remove any pacemakers and things. This had to be done because pacemakers are basically little batteries in your chest. And if you put the battery in an oven running at over 1,000 degrees C, they have a tendency to go poof. The first time I removed one, I learned that working at a funeral home requires you to have a certain sense of humor. There I was, a skinny 18-year-old nerd, hovering over a dead body, scalpel in hand, and right as I leaned in to make my first ever incision, mere inches away from flesh, my co-worker, watching me, leaned right in and shouted, "Ow!" I nearly jumped out of my skin, but admittedly it was pretty funny. You gotta troll a little bit. What a jerk. A little bit of trolling. I also did some gross things that you might have seen in the game during that summer, including holding organs freshly pulled from a body, while the mortician took pictures of them, taping ankle tags to the outside of a body bag because the time had taken its toll and it could no longer go onto the body, and mopping the floors of fat. Oh no! Ew! Mopping the floors of liquid fat if the older cremator didn't get the fire as hot as it should have been. Ew! Oh no! Oh, that's rank. Slippery as well, I bet. Yeah. Have you ever tried to clean a pan that's had a load of fat in it? Oh, rough. I wore a black suit every day as part of work, but frequently went home with a grey suit. And would often have to blow my nose a lot due to grey snot. Did you ever sneeze and powder came out of your nose? I just have that question happening. It's not cocaine, exactly. Trust me, it's not cocaine. For anyone curious, the wonderful payment... Oh, let's see if we get any guesses. The wonderful payment I received for this, frankly, macabre work was... How much did you get paid for it? I'm not sure what year it was in. How much do you get paid for doing all this kind of stuff? Not enough. Below minimum wage. So he's done it per hour. We've got an hourly wage. And remember, this is USA. I don't think you get tips, though, being a mortuary guy. Oh, Flibble's got it, yeah. I was making $10 an hour. Around 8 US pounds per hour. Used to be. Above all those experiences. However, there is one... Oh, God, there's more. There is one story that always stuck with me. And thankfully, this story is not gross at all. Okay. All right. So we have a tale that goes with this that is not gross. Halfway through my summer, we received the body of a murder victim. I say murder victim because we were told they had been killed in a gang shootout. But when we inspected the body, we didn't see any entrance or exit holes. Oh, a mystery. So we never really knew what happened. The body sat on our freezer shelf for about 3 weeks, which for context is a really fucking long time. We would often pick up the bodies within a day of the person dying, sometimes even mere hours. People meant for cremation would usually be back out the door in a few days, and funerals would usually take place within a week. maybe a week and a half at most. The reason for this particular person's extended stay was this. The mom and wife of the deceased wanted an open casket funeral, and the ex-wife wanted a cremation. And they had spent the whole time arguing, unable to reach any kind of compromise. I think it's the wife's choice, right? I would thought in the UK at least, the wife takes precedence over the mother. When he says ex-wife, yeah, he says ex-wife, but would that not be the wife? Because if it's just the ex-wife, she would have no say in the matter, right? But when he says ex-wife, he's referring to the fact that it's his current wife who's gone. 2 wives. All right, so the ex-wife doesn't get a fucking say, right? Now, you might ask yourself, okay, yeah, it continues. Why should a deceased ex-wife have any say over a person's wife at the time of death? Or their mother, for that matter? Great question. I haven't got a fucking clue. And no one ever gave me an answer. Okay. Fair enough. I have no fucking idea. There it is. In any case, whatever their problem was, after weeks of bickering, they finally decided on the open casket. So who won there? The ex-wife? No, the mum and wife. Okay, the mum and wife won. And the day of the funeral was upon us. My job that day was manning the front door, holding it open for the people attending, greeting them, letting them know we had punch and cookies in the main room. Everything was going pretty well. It was a lovely sunny day, and the people attending were in good spirits, as is often the case at the start of funerals before people start giving their eulogies. And even then, it's more of a happy sad than a truly dour experience. Kind of true. All the funerals I've been to have not exactly been miserable affairs. And I had basically forgotten about the preceding drama. But then the mood started to shift. I noticed all of a sudden there was a crowd of people beginning to form around the front door. Before I could really process what was going on, there was a human wall in front of me, barricading the entrance and essentially pinning me to the door I was holding open. What's going on? What were these people doing? And why was there suddenly this tense feeling in the air? I stood up on my tippy toes to get a look over the crowd, and that's when I understood. Walking up to the front of our funeral home was the ex-wife's group. Things escalated very quickly. People started arguing and telling the ex-wife's group that they were not welcome. Some of the men from each group stepped forward and started yelling at each other. I remember at least one guy having to physically hold another back as he was going to start throwing punches otherwise. I had a deer in the headlights moment. What the fuck are these guys doing? Why is everyone this angry? I was sure that things were going to get physical at any moment and wanted no part of that, so I managed to slide my way out of the back of the group and went around the side of the building. Along the way, I met 3 bewildered old ladies who had shown up to walk through the neighboring graveyard. And my co-workers let the 4 of us in through a side door. And there we sat. Me, my co-workers, and 3 random old ladies staring out through the window nervously, laughing and speculating if someone was going to be shot or stabbed. The worst part about this, the priest, His Holiness, who was brought in to handle the funeral ceremony, had left 5 minutes before this started because he forgot his Bible at home. You have one job, bro. You have one fucking job, dude. One job. Literally one job. Jesus Christ. You have one job. The one person who would have had some spiritual authority to get into the middle and tell everyone they just needed Jesus was nowhere to be found. A few minutes after getting in the building, we received a call from a funeral home in a neighboring small town asking us to transfer a body, and I was selected to make the drive. I had mixed feelings on this, as I wanted to watch more of this bizarre spectacle unfold as the rage was starting to spill out of the building. But I was also glad that if things actually got violent here, I would be in the next town over rather than smack dab in the middle of it. About an hour and a half after leaving for the transfer, I pulled back into our funeral home, only to find 6 police cars parked in our parking lot and along the side of the road. When I got in, I asked a co-worker if something crazy had happened. I was told that thankfully, a combination of the priest returning and the police had managed to settle down to a tense but cordial level, and the rest of the service passed without incident. I had to quit the job at the end of the summer as I was starting university, and despite liking the job, being responsible for loading bodies into a box and running around at 1,000 degrees Celsius was just a bit more stress than an 18-year-old me wanted, especially if I was studying too. The rest of my time there went without too much crazy stuff happening. I did have an incident, though, where a box I was putting in for cremation got stuck with about half a foot of it sticking out of the cremator. And said cremator was on and well past the igniting temperature of cardboard. So, me and my co-workers, during the service, had to push the rest of the casket in with metal brooms as it was actually on fire. I mean, I hope you made it look classy, right? I hope you made it look classy. That's all. Respectfully, these are our casket brooms, and we bring these on occasion should moments like this happen. Mm-hmm. But hey, who hasn't had that happen at a job once or twice? Looking back, I honestly enjoyed that job, despite everything. If I was ever in need of work and couldn't find any, I would consider going back to somewhere similar. Being around so much death, but in like a peaceful way, helped me shape my perception of life and gave me an appreciation of our impermanence. Also, for a year afterward, whenever I would be driving around town with someone, I would always point out and say, I picked up a dead body from there. Yep, that's the one. At the top of those two things, I met the woman who had become my now 8-year partner shortly after quitting. And one of the first topics we hit it off on was the fact that she was studying to become a trauma nurse. And I was one of the people who, A, wasn't grossed out by her stories, and B, had similar stories of my own despite not working in medicine. Working in a funeral home paid off for me big. Thanks for reading my little macabre story. I hope you found it entertaining and gross, but not too gross. And thank you for all your years of drama time. Not bad, not bad. I've got to be honest. Emma made me go outside to have dinner with some new friends, and one of them works in an abattoir, and I just asked her so many questions. I was like, really? She's like, are you sure you want to talk about this? Because everybody hates hearing me talk about it. I was like, I cannot wait. I could not wait. Hit me up. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't need names for this. Drama time, audience. I require your soundest judgment. Should I sign this? Should I sign this? Okay. I have no idea what's in this contract. I have not read this before. Let me get my gavel so we can officially render judgment at the end of this. I will point this out. If your husband is pointing you to this tale, I will have you know we are all of sound mind and we are a fair and just court. Okay? We are fair and just, and we will take all arguments into consideration. Okay? That is what we agree on as a community. Here we go. Dear Preach, and the kind, intelligent members of the jury. Okay, he's already buttering up the audience. I was a gamer. Name a console generation and I played it. My first gaming computer was a 386. Same. I was a swashbuckler in Asheron's Call, a bounty hunter in Star Wars Galaxies, I healed the first group to clear Blackrock Spire on the Kargath server. My hunter wears the immortal title. This Roger Brown. But then I got married. And my wife had a baby. No. You had a baby too. That's how that works. You both had a baby. Okay? It's not your wife had a baby. You both had a baby. Okay? And then she had another baby. And then she had another baby. You are partially responsible for this. I can think of at least 3 things you did which contributed to this situation. At least 3. Okay? Probably more. I'm just saying, there's definitely at least 3 reasons that you are partially responsible for this situation. Not necessarily. Okay. I don't think we should start opening this with infidelity suggestions. He seems pretty confident that they're his children, I would think. Those babies sucked up all my leisure time like formula from a bottle. My wife works 1,000,000 hours, and my job can be done at home, even before COVID. So, I am the primary caregiver. My burp foo and rap foo are very strong. Okay. 1,000,000 hours she works. Okay. Well, apparently not every hour though, right? There's a spare hour got flying around every now and again. Now, on this day, we have 3 walking, talking boys. The youngest has just started school. All of them are healthy. Thank God, right? True story. And I love those boys with all my heart. And we never had any serious problems. But from the gaming side of things, it's been 10 years of hell. From a gamer's perspective, it's been 10 years of hell. To be fair, I would not be a gamer now if I didn't do this for a job. I'm pretty sure. I would not be a gamer now. Finally, I find myself with spare time. And I bought myself a brand new 3080. And I got my Steam library back. The first thing I played with my newfound freedom was Elden Ring. That's a good welcome back. And Mike, just 2 days after I started playing Elden Ring, my wife said she would like another child. Oof. Or she wants a girl, doesn't she? Wants a girl. Oh, the gap between ages, though, man. The kid's already in school, and you start the nappy shit again? No way, dude. I'm out. I don't mind. I would have another kid now. I would. I've brought it up on stream. We've talked about adopting and all sorts. We might have another child, but we're not going back to babies again. 2-year gap between the children is crisp. A 2-year gap is absolutely crisp. Absolutely crisp. But I am not making another baby. It's such a fucking hassle. Adopt me. I'm 31. That's not a 2-year gap. I need like either an 11 or a 5-year-old. That's what I'm after. I want to be clear on something, ladies and gentlemen. I do not want another child. I do not want another child. Okay. We have had this same conversation a dozen times. I say no. No more. I declare enough. It has been too long, and I have walked that dark road. Why not? We can afford it, he counters. Nothing to do with the money. It's the time. See? The time. And the effort. And the stress. And the exhaustion. 3 children is plenty. They're in school now. They're going to start developing into their own people. They need us less. I don't have one strapped to my arm permanently. You just want to play games, he declares. Besides, 4 is better than 3. That's not a strong argument. That is not a strong argument. Does that mean 5 is better than 4? 6 better than 5? Where do we end this situation? You just want to... Yes, I would like some free time. There is nothing wrong with that either. I would like my free time. We have 3 children. I would like some free time. What's the problem? I declare... It is not better than 3 when you have to feed and change an infant at the same time as getting 3 kids ready for school every morning. I can do those things this time, she says. Bullshit, I say. Besides, oh no! Oh, girls. Never play this card. I swear to God, never play this card. Okay? Besides, it's not like you have to carry it or give birth to it. Like, don't play that card. That's some bullshittery right there. That's some bullshittery right there. Don't play that card. Don't play that card. No, that's not fair. You're the worst astrologian on the planet. No. You're not playing that. No way. In this manner, she dances all around my objections. You see, you may be wondering, but my wife is a lawyer. No disrespect to your wife. I mean that genuinely. But if she's a lawyer and part of her argument in her case is 4 is better than 3, I'm getting a different lawyer. I'm just putting it out there. If that's what she's come up with as the legal defense here, I am definitely getting a different lawyer. That's all I'm putting out there is 4 better than 3. And if you're watching, I don't know your name, Miss Wife, you know that's a shitty argument. You know it. Hearsay. It's hearsay. You know that's a shitty argument. Okay. And as a lawyer, she decided it would be a good idea to come up with a legal proposal to solve our dilemma. She has offered me a contractual arrangement she believes will be to our mutual benefit. And frankly, probably because she's my wife, she really, really knows what I want. Oh my God. Have we got the contract? Okay, we do have the contract. Excellent. Okay. So, I am doing my gamer legal due diligence by showing it to you. My question for you and the jury is, should I sign it? Before we get into this, if one of the two of you does not want a child, then no. Okay, can we be clear on that? If one of two of you does not want another child, then the answer is no. At all. Under any circumstances. That's not fair to the kid. That's just a fucking no. If one of you two of you just does not want a child, then no. Okay. Part of me is saying as I type this, no, it's totally fucking stupid and a bit sad. Don't embarrass yourself. But another part says, that's a really good deal. Where's my pen? I'm curious as to what's on the table. I'm not going to lie. I am curious as to what's in this contract. The contract is attached. I have redacted our names, of course. Pink redactions are her name, and blue redactions are mine. Okay, so let's make a deal here. Considering Bex hasn't provided any names for this husband-wife legal document, I shall provide them. Oh, mine would be filthy. Yeah, mine would be all sex. Oh, it would be so disgusting. Yeah, it would. My contract would be a thirst trap. An absolute thirsty fucking document. It would just... Yeah, it'd be bad. It'd be like 90% sex, 10% some sort of like additional dog situation. Oh. I think no, actually, if I was being real, my contract would involve Emma just cleaning up after herself. If I could get that, if I could achieve that, I'd have like 4 more kids. If I could get Emma just to clean anything, that would be pretty cool. You won't believe this. She got a new card 2 days ago. Yeah. She's lost it this morning and borrowed my card again. It's just impossible. It's an impossible situation. I was angry this morning. She's like, I need to borrow your card. And I said, your new bank card arrived 2 days ago. She went, I've lost it. I was like, is it not on your phone? She went, I tried to put it in, put the wrong number in, and it blocked it. Okay. I thank you in advance for your advice. P.S. Remedy 2 might be a joke, but honestly, I'm not sure. Remedy 2 might be a joke, but I'm not sure. You can't put jokes in legal documents. The wrong place for it. P.P.S. Obviously, there is no way to enforce this contract in a legal sense. But really, what do I have to lose? Okay, I haven't read the contract yet. What do you have to lose? She just doesn't fulfill her end. And you end up looking after a 4th kid that you didn't particularly want. That's what can happen. It's pretty easy, actually. What can happen is she's totally unenforceable. I will point out, when Emma, when I said no to getting Ben, when she brought that puppy home after ripping it from its horrible housing conditions, the agreement was that we would walk it 50% each because I knew that she wasn't going to do it. And so I said, if you're getting a dog, you have to help walk that dog. Emma has not walked Ben in 6 years. And the only time she walked him 6 years ago was because I was away and her mother wasn't around. Okay? So, now I don't mind because I love Ben and having a walk with Ben is great. But at the same time, yes. Okay, here we go. The Child Production Agreement. Oh, what a disgusting name. The Child Production Agreement. This document represents an agreement between wife and husband. The agreement was made on and takes effect in accordance with the activation provision. Okay, there's an activation provision. Activation. The terms of this agreement take effect immediately upon the confirmation of a viable pregnancy by ultrasound. The pregnancy represents all consideration due to, under this agreement, the duration. The terms of this agreement will persist for 3 years from the date of effect. So it's from ultrasound. Okay. 3 years from ultrasound. So it'll only be like 2. Yeah. Okay. It's not as if they're like got a job at that point. Interesting. The terms. Term 1. From the date of effect and for the duration of the agreement, husband, augurs, will be entitled to number 2, sessions of uninterrupted gaming per week. No. You get to play games twice a week? For how long? There's no duration here. 2. Second, Augurs will nominate the days in which the gaming sessions will occur at least 2 weeks in advance. I'd like to book in to do my island sanctuary in Wednesday, 2 weeks. Is that okay? Can I book that in? Is that all right? Cool. 3. Each gaming session Augurs will begin no earlier than 7 p.m. and persist for no longer than 5 hours. This is awful. My raid starts at 6. This makes no sense. 4. Augurs will be entitled to enjoy gaming sessions alone in the study and with the door closed at his discretion. Okay. Have you ever tried to stop kids coming in? Ever? Chris, how often have we stated that James is not supposed to come into your room?
Yeah.
Good luck. Good fucking luck having 5 hours uninterrupted in your home with children.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck with that. Bex, number 5. Bex will deposit the sum of $5,000 in a deposit account accessible only to... She's going to pay you? This is weird. She's going to pay you? This got really weird. Makes me, like, uncomfortable. And you said this is a good deal? There better be more to it. Remediation. On the occasion that a request by Bex causes Augurs to forfeit a scheduled gaming session, Augurs will be entitled to one of the remedies listed in this section. Okay, so you book... Okay, so to be clear, you book in that you want to play Mario Kart 2 weeks ahead of time, and then she has the option to cancel that. And if she does, this is what happens. Okay. And you get to choose one of these things. Remedy 1, a blowjob to completion within 3 days. A blowjob or similar service to completion performed by an external professional? What fucking relationship do you guys have? What fucking relationship do you guys have? What is going on there? Remedy 3. The sum of $200 transferred from the deposit account at discretion will be entitled to select the remedy provided. If the deposit account reaches a balance of $0, Remedy 3 will cease to be available. Oh. Oh. So, if she... Okay. So... So, if she cancels your gaming, you get $200 until the $5,000 is gone, is the idea. Yeah, so the $5,000 is a slush fund. And every time she cancels you, $200 gets given to you. If you choose that way. Bro, I feel like you're not getting your dick sucked by your wife. What a bummer. She wants a baby. Fuck her. Okay. This is all a no so far, by the way, Arthur. Everything here is bad. Everything here is fucking terrible. Confidentiality. This is the end of the agreement. All right, that's the deal. Confidentiality. The terms of this agreement shall remain confidential while the agreement is in effect, so you're not allowed to tell anybody. Okay. Execution. This agreement is hereby executed by the undersigned parties of Augurs and Bex. That's the contract. That's the end. You wish us to render judgment on this. This is the worst fucking contract I have ever seen in my life. This is worse than Raid Shadow Legends. I swear to God. And I've read those contracts. This is worse than that. Like, this is fucking unbelievable. This is crazy. This is absolutely fucking crazy. Like, I don't know what your situation is, and I don't presume, but there's nothing here that's good. Nothing. This is terrible. For 3 years, you get 2 gaming sessions that you have to book 2 weeks in advance. No? No. No. Scheduled playtime, yeah. For only 5 hours. This is scary. Like, this actually scares me. If Emma gave me this, I'd just be like, who are you? Let's check something and see if I get screwed up. Let's check something. Let's do a checkers. Let's do a check. Yeah, I'm good. You good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Are you alright if I play on the computer tonight with something? Awesome. Thank you. Bye. Ta-da! Like magic. like magic. 2 weeks. But where do you sign? I don't understand how you would live like this. This is crazy. It's so weird. I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's so fucking weird. Anyway, as the judge of this situation, I render this contract fail. Judgment has been rendered. And this agreement is disgusting and terrifying and horrible in all ways. I can point out that when my children were born and I was looking after them while my wife slept, I played games. I lay my children on my chest and I played video games while they slept. It was awesome. It was awesome. Tonight was already a 2-week booking. He's just not telling us. Guilty. Yeah. Like, what else is he supposed to do? It feels very controlling. Honestly, that terrifies the shit out of me. Oh my God. All right, how long is this one? What are we on? Like 5 minutes? Oh, it's really long. That's unfortunate. Well, let's do this quick fun one. Not giga dramatic, but I think we need some levity. I think we need some levity after that one. Yeah, I'll go for the other one. Let's have a little bit of levity. No names in here. Lacking on the names. The poor. The poor people experience. We know all about it. We know all about the poor people experience. Dear Mr. Preach & Co., a hot and sweaty greeting to you in the chat from the country which also spawned Team Nobler, the Netherlands. I've been a fan of Drama Time ever since I discovered your channel back in the Moppish days, but I decided I wanted to be less of a shithouse and decided to watch some guides. Since then, I've watched almost every season of Drama Time, and I hope you continue the series for as long as you can. You guys pay for it, I'll be here, simple as that. One of your episodes made me feel nostalgic for no particular reason, and with Wrath Classic now upon us, I decided to share my WoW private server beginnings with you. Oh, you're a private server, Andy. That's because you're poor. That makes sense. My WoW tale is not exactly riddled with drama, but more of a travel through the dark places of the internet. Places where no man should ever go. I am, of course, talking about WoW Cataclysm private servers. I hope that my experience in these dark, twisted worlds at the very least is entertaining for you and your audience. My gaming tale begins in a pre-World of Warcraft era, though. I've always been gaming with my 2-year older brother and discovered most of the games that I ended up playing throughout my youth. We started playing Roller Coaster Tycoon and Age of Empires 2 on our old family PC that a college friend of my dad burned on a disc for us. Oh, what a friend. What a friend. Other notable games that me and my brother played were Mech Warrior, a game where we had to both aim with the mouse and move with the keyboard. Oh, God. Which meant that you had... and fire all your machine guns and missiles, which meant that you had to press about 1 through 9 at certain moments. We came up with a genius strategy for this, though, where he would be Mouse Boy and ASWD, and I would mash the keys on the 1 through 9, and we would kill lots of people. Oh, genius. Genius. RuneScape. One of the few games I played for a very long time, where we would both stand in a bank, me saying buying obscure junk item X for 100k, which was a lot back then, and my brother would stand at the opposite side of the bank, say selling same obscure junk item for 60k. Some venture people, trusting in our capitalistic integrity, would buy the junk from my brother for all that gold, only for me to never accept their trades. Eventually, my brother stopped doing this with me because I couldn't type fast enough to be a good salesman, as you couldn't macro the comments. Silk Road, an Asian MMO which had more modern graphics, causing our PC to huff and puff when it tried to boot up. It was actually so bad that the PC which would already take about 15 minutes to start up, was just barely able to load up the game on the lowest settings. It would actually take approximately 30 minutes for this game to load up on that PC. But once you loaded the game, you were safe, right? There was just one small minor inconvenience. There was often a queue for the servers we were on, and the moment we were set in the queue, for some reason, it would crash the game, meaning I had to restart and load the game again. These games, however, were all mostly free or pirated. World of Warcraft had always been a game that I was very interested in, but never actually tried because I could not be paying €15 a month. But my brother came up with a solution. There is a type of Warcraft that does not actually require money. Something he called the Private Realms. I was intrigued. He sold it to me as being invite only, so only a select few were allowed on the servers. I knew jack shit of computers and never actually bothered to learn anything, as I could do anything by just annoying my brother so much to the point where he would do it for me instead. Now, we should note here that we were both had our own PCs at the time, so I just sat back and let him sort everything out, and after a while, I was online, and we both made our characters. The server was some of the most jank private server ever. But as I didn't know any better, it looked amazing. The server was Wrath-based, but it had some small, barely noticeable additions. We both made Horde characters, and we were instantly teleported to the Exodar. Pierce, Velen, and several bosses from the Burning Crusade had been made into quest givers. And at the end of the quest chain, which explained the teleport mechanic, which basically just teleported you to any dungeon or place, we were given a ring. This ring had about 10,000 or some insane amount of every primary stat, meaning that everything you tried to kill was a joke. We tried to two-man the Obsidian Sanctum. We soon, however, noticed that after we killed all the dragons on the side and we tried to tackle the big dragon, that it did nothing but just auto-attack. It did, however, have a huge amount of health, and we did not hit very hard compared to its health pool. What I remember is that we just went AFK while auto-attacking the boss as we went and had dinner, and when we came back from dinner, we had defeated the boss. Why would anybody play this? I don't get it. Why would anybody play this game? Needless to say, it was not fun. Watching my character, which was a hunter, I believe, slowly turn any big dragon or boss into a pincushion as besides the first few quests. Not a single other quest in the entire game worked. And even if it was, the ring made you so powerful that there was no reason to do it. But then, they made an announcement. A new, better world. A better private server. A Cataclysm server. If I remember correctly, Mr. Pandaria was underway on retail, and me still being poor, decided to give it a try. So I begged my brother to fix it for me. And after a week or so, he caved and installed it on my computer. This private server was actually good. I believe it was called Molten WoW or something. It had working quests, no bizarre overpowered rings, and almost everything seemed to be working correctly. There was the occasional bug here and there, like when after a while into this expansion, the balanced druids, which I played as the homage to the many chickens I'd slayed during my time in RuneScape, got access to exploding mushrooms. If I remember correctly, you had a max of 3 shrooms. You could detonate them with another ability, dealing some AoE damage. On this server, however, it worked slightly differently. You had no way of detonating them as that ability was broken, so it was useless, right? Oh, wrong. We discovered that there was actually no cap placed on the amount of mushrooms you could put down. And for some reason, the mushrooms were also not on a global cooldown, as expected of any good chicken. I decided to share my mushrooms with the world, placing as many mushrooms as I could in busy places like the auction house, slowing everyone's computer in a 100-yard radius to about 1 FPS. At some point, we even completely lagged out the server and made it crash. Oh, what fun. The server also had somewhat of an ingenious and honestly a somewhat modern monetization model. What they would do is release patch by patch, just like the original Cataclysm release, so 4, 4.1, 4.2, and so on. However, there was a twist. For a small contribution, you could become something else. Something other than the pause, something better. You could actually buy the gear from the next major patch through the in-game shop on their website. Luckily for me, you could earn a small amount of currency by watching adverts and answering sketchy puzzles. This meant after about 3 months of non-stop filling in captures all day, I was finally playing in the Firelands patch with weapons from the Dragon Soul. Oh no. Watching adverts. Woohoo! Awesome. That sounds well good. I would smash noobs in PvP with my overpowered gear and bathe in the sweet tears of those paws as my chicken would disintegrate them. Then I think like 2 weeks or so later, they released the Dragon Soul patch and all my gear was not overpowered anymore. Everyone had access to the stuff I had bought. The prospect of grinding another 3 months of surveys and adverts made me quit the game on the spot. Oh, you got whaled, son! Whoopah! Gotcha, baby. Gotcha. Oh, sweet, sweet whale tears. Oh, let me bathe in it. Suck those whale tears up. I made, a couple of years later, the good decision to skip Private Service Fiesta and just play regular, reliable, retail World of Warcraft. So when a new expansion was announced, I purchased Warlords of Draenor. I feel like I cannot add anything here as to what has not already been said about that expansion, so I'll just move past it. I did enjoy Legion, though, playing BFA, during which I was actually playing on an EU server while I was on exchange in a Sydney university, meaning I had a glorious 400 ping like some of your viewers in Final Fantasy XIV. That's really mean. That's really mean. They do just fine, actually. I'll just let you know. Luckily, I played a Guardian Druid, so it did not impact my gameplay whatsoever. Swipe, swipe, thrash, thrash, swipe, swipe, thrash, thrash. I wasn't progressing Mythic or anything like that at this time until I went to tour the east coast of Aussie-land and just kind of stopped playing. I came back for the Shadowlands and never even made it to the Castle Nathria raid release. Oh, God, it was so sad. I know it's not a tale filled with drama, but I hope it entertained you either way. And no, I have no idea why I ever played on the servers with the overpowered rings. Well, apparently several of our viewers did too. So you're not alone in that world. You're not alone. But on that nice bit of levity after that dark, dark contract of death that we just went... Hola, ballers and a brofist to you all! Although it is Saturday evening here in sunny, windy Manchester. And I am getting to spend my evening right here with you guys. And I could not be happier about it. I had a whole Saturday. Kid stuff, nonsense, all sorts of family engagements. Good God, why? Why must I attend birthday parties for the young? Ugh, it's so gross. So disgusting. But we are here to have some fun with you guys. We're going to have some fun because we could not do drama time on Friday afternoon. It was impossible. Why? Because Chris took the use of the word doable to extremes. Yes. We have had a subathon over the course of September, and one of the unlocks in there was a treasure hunt that I was to be sent on by my wonderful crew here at Team PG, where they assembled many things from modded versions of Outer Wilds, making me do strange challenges, redoing the Kugani Tower in Final Fantasy XIV, taking me to locations I had never even been to in my life, and certainly never heard of. And then part of that was a journey into Minecraft, to a world that Mr. Chris, Mr. Chunky Ninja, had constructed himself, and a jumping puzzle. Frustration abound as we went down that rabbit hole of it remains uncompleted, I believe. Remains incomplete. But at the end of it, the journey was worth it. The journey was absolutely worth it as we unlocked for you guys a winnable PC worldwide, a computer, a very, 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 very powerful computer that you guys can win with 5 days remaining on that, with some code words and things along those lines to help you along your way. So make sure you look into that if you would like to win a computer device with powerful processing abilities and many gigaflops, teraflops of abilities of graphical processing power, yes, and hard drive space to make sure your games are installed and can be pressed play on. That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? That would be awesome. So you've got 5 days remaining for that competition as we move into our next competition, which will of course be our October. We are in October now, the month of spooks and scares, and I'm sure many horror games are in our future. I think the horror games will be in our future, but we're having a Final Fantasy XIV housing spooky house competition that will be happening in October, where money will be won for the first, second, and third place. So get creating, get making, submit your things on the Discord so we can visit them. And if you have any interest in this thing, I suggest you do. With the levels of creativity involved, I would surely check last year's competition, where you get an idea of just how good these things can be and probably inspire you to create your own madness, world, and craziness to go along with that. That should be really good. So that's going to be this month, as well as raid testing on Monday. We will be raid testing in Dragonflight on Monday and finishing Subnautica, which has easily propelled itself into one of my favorite games ever made. Another September unlock was to play through Subnautica, and you guys were right, as much as I hate to say it. My wonderful live audience was correct. Yes, I very much enjoy it. We are, I guess, somewhere towards the end. I don't know. We've gone in completely blind, but it feels like we're getting towards the end, which will be sad to say goodbye, as I've yet to renovate my base into what at least appeases the live chat, because they're not happy with anything I construct. It is clearly scuffed, messed up, and not perfect and not aligned. Just because I stick a locker on top of a poster, apparently that makes me the bad guy. And I am not a bad guy. I am just efficient in terms of getting things done so I can get back out there and, you know, make things good. That's all I want. I make things good as I roam around past giant fish in my cycloptic, vast submarine, which is just way too big. Way too big. But of course, it is drama time. I have 4 stories in front of me, and after this, we're going to be checking out a game which actually looks amazing. They contacted us because this seems to be a game that has had nowhere near the recognition it probably deserves. It's a game called Foxhole, an MMO. And we're going to be checking that out this evening with a few players. We managed to get like 5 keys, so it'd be like Chris and Nups and co. Join us along for that. But it looks incredible. Everything in it is fucking player-made. Everything in the game is player-made, from the vehicles to the weapons to everything. It's a persistent war that's going on. So we'll be looking forward to checking it out, as their new update has like trains, logistics, factories, all sorts of stuff. Flamethrower tanks, the whole thing. So we'll have a look at that after drama time and see what we think. So we can jump into it. So, what do we have in front of us today, courtesy of our lovely Bex, who has gone through this? I see words like dickhead, noobs, and a changed person. A redemption arc. Okay, well, I guess we should be the judge of whether this redemption is real or not. If somebody, maybe this will inspire some of the audience to become redeemed in some way from their horrible actions. Not that my audience would ever partake in horrible actions. They may do, but you know, for the most part, I assume they're good people. You know, a solid percentage of great people. So, griefer turned carer. Yes, redemption for you lot. Maybe this will be a sermon. Maybe this could be our religious sermon in order to behold upon you the good graces of being other people. Okay, let's jump into our first tale and see where the night takes us. Preacher and your wonderful, wonderful chat, already buttering them up so you can swing them to your favor, I suppose. I've written to you before, and I think I'll write it again, as you and your chat had some very kind things to say about my wife and myself. You even commented, and I quote, "What is this guild? It's full of Care Bears." Okay. I have to... That does sound like me. I have to admit, while my wife was never involved in my online shenanigans, I was not always a good guy online. Well, same. For my tale, I will bring you all the way back to my first ever MMO. Ooh, God. Which I started playing at the ripe old age of 16. I started playing EverQuest. Now, this whole MMO thing was new to me, and there was certainly a learning curve, but there were several game designs which will become important later. First of all, if you thought Master Looter was bad, I don't, I like Master Looter. When EverQuest was first designed, they had no expectation that huge groups of players would organize to kill the dragons of the world. So there were no such things as raid groups, only small parties that you know of. When a mob died, the group that did the most damage to the mob would have first access to any loot that dropped. What about the healers? Do they not count? I've never played EverQuest. The healers do damage. The healers do damage. After a few minutes, if something was unlooted, the corpse would open up and anyone could loot it. Healers do not do damage. Healers aren't people. Wow. Healers aren't real people. I see you've read Blizzard's recent post about Dragonflight loot and joined in the meta of the healers being oppressed once more. This meant that when we did kill bosses, someone would have to link the drops. We would have to use whatever system to determine who got what. Wait for the body to open up to the world, and then the winners could take their sweet, sweet items. This would be further complicated by the fact that there were no instances at all. Enter a dungeon, you're just all in the same one. So all bosses were all competed for by the big guilds on the server. This is true. We've done some research on this recently. They just had outdoor areas. One of the big inspirations for Wailing Caverns, actually. That's why Wailing Caverns has that huge outdoor area before you actually get to the dungeon. Similarly with Black Fathom Deeps and Uldaman. Blizzard's first creations based on this idea that people would be just roaming around as they did in EverQuest. If a boss was up for you, it was up for everybody. And two guilds could both be burning a boss down at once, hoping to get their hands on its juicy, juicy rewards. The second design in the game that's important is the death system. It could be pretty unforgiving, as when you died, as all your gear stayed on your corpse, you were transported naked to whatever city you set your soulbind to, and you would have to either be rezzed or run back naked to collect your stuff. Additionally, you also lost experience with every death. Yeah, this is my first MMO. I mean, I guess by these standards, my first MMO, Neocron, was Care Bear, because you only lost one of your items. Every time you died, you only lost one of your items. In zones that were level prohibited, as example, the plains, if you died and lost the required level to zone in to recover your body, you would have to gain enough experience naked to re-enter the zone. Oh god, that's horrible. You could de-level and not be able to re-enter the zone? Oh my god. That's painful. Holy crap, that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal. Oof. That is an oof. I mean, you're kind of also responsible for that, right? You would gain enough experience to cover a death before you went in, if you were a smirk player. You wouldn't, like, teeter in on the edge. Yeah, that's on you, actually. Fuck you, dude. That's you being a dick, honestly. Pussy. Before collecting your gear. This I learned through experience. A little note from Bex here. I have made you this illustrative aid to show you how this would look if you had to run naked from Manchester to the streets of Liverpool, where you met your untimely demise. You are welcome, chat. Oh, this is amazing, Bex. Really something special. I appreciate the effort you've gone to show the chat. For our audio listeners, she appears to have stuck me on a naked baby with a weird face with a road map to Liverpool where my gear is lying. Interesting. At least we know it only takes 1 hour, 1 minute by train to arrive there. Okay, I think we now can look at this infographic and all have an idea of how EverQuest worked, right? We're all on the same page? Good. Good to know. Excellent. And lastly, was how to bind your soul. This could be done in any city, and any pure caster class had the ability to bind the soul of their party members. Warriors, for example, would have to find a wizard or druid or cleric to bind their soul to a chosen location. That would remain the soul bind until the process was repeated elsewhere. Well, you couldn't just click a thing. You couldn't just click a thing. Yeah, you had to find a player to do it. Oh, that's a bummer. Okay. So, with these simple rules in place, let's move on to the debauchery that's ensued. Like a fool, I played a ranger, which was a mistake. I enjoyed the class and had fun with it, but I wouldn't learn until I was well beyond the level cap that the devs had decided hybrid classes, such as rangers, had an unfair leveling advantage, and thus would suffer a 40% experience penalty compared to their pure caster or pure melee counterparts. That's brutal again. This game is fucking hardcore. I don't fancy playing EverQuest. That sucks. Oh, you have an easy time, so you get less experience? What a fucking bummer. Unlike hunters in World of Warcraft, for example, rangers had no pets, but a variety of kiting abilities which we used to solo and range DPS attacks to use in groups. Now, I did my fair bit of soloing as I leveled, but being the teenage douchebag that I was, when I decided to join a group, I would be seriously, personally offended if random strangers I came across didn't acknowledge my greatness and immediately invite me to join them grinding out XP. This became a problem in the mid-level zones of the deserts of Ro. I would heroically enter the area, and I would declare in my announce, "Behold, level 23 Ranger LFG." I would wait. And I would watch the various groups who had staked out their locations continue to pull and pull. But no information or invitation would be forthcoming. They mustn't have heard me. Again, I beseech you, friends. I am a level 23 ranger looking for group. But again, no response. Well, of course, this just could not stand. Wrong. Unacceptable. It was an injustice, an affront to my very name. It was in fact criminal in my eyes. Did they not know that I could solo this whole place if I should feel the desire? I was a proud ranger of the good. Yes, there were factions, good, evil, and neutral. And I wasn't being invited to their groups. Why weren't they falling over themselves to be the first to witness my greatness? Well, there was only one thing to do then. And so I took my case to the sand giants. While in the zone in general, if memory serves, was around the 20 to 30 level mark, there were several sand giants stomping around who were around level 40. And groups would have to be very careful not to aggro these wandering beasts. I would find a druid among the groups and between pulls make a simple request. SOW, please. Which stood for Spirit of the Wolf. A movement increasing spell that was treasured amongst us slow runners. And a buff they would immediately regret giving to me. The sand giants seemed sympathetic to my plight that day, as they angrily followed me from group to group, slaughtering everybody who had not invited me to their group. Chew, chew, motherfuckers, I would shout to announce their impending doom. I found it so much fun. I kept doing this for hours, until, honest to God, the groups were gone. None of them were farming experience anymore. Chew, chew, motherfuckers. I wish I could take the crown as EverQuest's graded train conductor, but that belongs to Fancy, the famous bard, who ran his trains so effectively that the so-called no-rules PvP server had to create a rule to stop his elite training uberness. Oh, we have a link. Fancy the famous. Okay, hold on. They had to... the no-rule server had to make its own rule. What is this? Oh, God. Oh, my... Is this GeoCities? Holy shit, dudes. All right. Live viewers, behold. EverQuest's Sullen Zex server will never be the same. Thank you, DBG, for showing me around on... Oh, God. 2017. This isn't even that old. And for the tin of Batwing Crunchies. When it came to a server with no play nice rules, no level limits, and a promise of many unfair battles, nobody wanted to be the good guy. The few that did, a mere 11% according to estimates, quickly succumbed to the city of Freeport and surrounding zones to the evil team, favoring to hide out in secluded locations such as Halas. But one man stayed behind. One man chose to fight the evil team on their own territory. That man was known simply as Fancy, the famous bard. A sad story. Oh my God, this chat logs. Hail, adventurers. Welcome to the second and final episode of Fancy, the famous bard. Evil jerks have witnessed the fury of Mithanil Mar and his vigilant band of giants. War is wrong. But sometimes, when something is really, really bad, such as evil, there is a good reason to fight. Some chat logs now. You shout, "Warning, evil heathens! Since I am a moral man with good ethics, not an evil slime ball like all of you, I am giving you a warning to leave Oasis now. This is a good guy zone." Training sand giants is tough. You say out of character, "All the good guys in the house say ho ho." All the good guys in the house say uh-oh. Pansy shouts uh-oh. You say out of character, "All the bad guys in the house say Ras says out of character, You say out of character, "Now wave your hand in the air and wave them like you just don't care." Delza then says out of character, "Honestly, it takes skill to exploit the system the way she does, though." Oh, yeah. It's hard to play a song and run fast into people that are sitting and medding. Skill? You mean killing bats till 5, coming in tomorrow and running from sand giants? Fancy, I give you props for your training ability, but it only works on those noobs you ran right over me and I lived, so you're not that good, so give up. You say out of character, "Sir, this is my profession. I don't judge your puma killing skills." I think Fancy might actually be a Giga Chad. Oh my God, there's so much of this. These are all the chat logs of people who've been fucking killed by this guy. Oh no, it keeps going. Oh God. It just keeps fucking going. There's pages and pages of chat logs of people bitching about this guy killing everybody. Oh, so many corpses. So many corpses. It's so good. I want more Fancy. All right, we need to put the link in it. All right, there's the no rule server makes a special case. Hold on. Okay, this is a small one. Let me see. When the sand cleared from behind the giant's feet, many bodies of the evil team lay still and dead, except for maybe a finger or head twitching like in Full Metal Jacket. Over 4 days, my giants and I had slain an estimated 350 bad guys, a fair percentage of the entire team. Out of character. I thought some of you might want to know why the most famous bard, me, Fancy, has stopped playing. Oh, Fancy stopped playing. So we got some catalogs. The Djembe tells you, hello, this is Game Master Djembe. Do you have a moment? Sure. We need to talk about your zone disruption you are causing. Alright. I have petitioned several times to ask if it was a problem. One guide said it was perfectly legal, so I continued. I would say it is legal if you were of a level where others could take recourse on you. But at level 5, they cannot do that now, can they? That's true, which is why I chose this level, intentionally. There were no rules against it when I began. Is one being created? There has always been a rule about zone disruption. At some point you will get bored of this little trick and possibly venture up in levels. What do you think you are doing to your reputation at this time? I don't give a shit what the bad guys think of me. Can you repeat to me the rule on zone disruption? I'm having trouble finding it on the EverQuest.com website. Let me pull the reference. Rule 13 applies because the play nice policy is removed due to the players being able to resolve this conflict through combat. You have nullified the rule in that they cannot take recourse. Okay, so I need some help from some EverQuest gamers. Are you just not allowed to gank low levels? Is that what's going on here? You can't do anything to them? They're like got a safety net on or something like that that prevents them from being PvP'd? So this guy's like literally untouchable as he does this? Is that what's happening? I guess so. Under level 6, you are immune to other players. Okay. What a dick. Alright. Would this apply to a team member training his own team? I am more concerned with zone disruption. I would say you are not breaking the rules other than causing a zone disruption. It is warnable, but not terminable. My account is about 1 warning away from being banned, so I dropped it. Djembe, since you want me to stop, I will. Okay. Great. I am glad we had this talk. Be safe. Stay well. Later all, I won't miss any of you. I'm moving on to better MMOs. Peace. Peace out. Oh, the hardcores got bullied. That's unfortunate. That's really sad. What a fucking griefer. But that was not our author. That was not our author. That was the great Fancy, the trainer. At any rate, my training had dual effects. The next day, I zoned in and did my usual. Behold, 23 Ranger looking for group. This was met by the flaming of the people that I had previously murdered, denouncing me as a trainer and a griefer. But some had been impressed with my skills, though. Are you the one who pulled all those giants yesterday? The tank that invited me asked. Yes, I said. Cool, you can pull for us then, he said. There was a little pause. No giants, though, he finished. Granted, training an entire zone until there were no more groups farming XP might seem like small potatoes as far as toxic players go, but as it turns out, I was only getting my feet wet. Oh no. After reaching the level cap, I joined a raiding guild and took it upon myself to park various characters around the world in order to check if certain world bosses were alive. I raided with a Dutch guild at this point because they were active during North America's working hours, giving us an advantage in getting bosses before the NA guilds were active. Our main competition was an EU guild. I can't remember the name, but there was one that was added filled with giant ogres. As a result, ogre-raced players weren't killed on sight there, and I was able to run a level 1 ogre all the way to the big, bad boss, just to check if it was alive and if my guild could go and kill it. One day I log in only to find our main competitor guild in the midst of killing that boss. It made me omega sad. Omega sad. That I had turned up too late. But all was not lost. You might remember those loot rules I mentioned earlier. Yeah. As soon as the boss died, I dropped on top of his corpse and spam right-clicked him as if the antidote could be found within. Sure enough, whoever was holding the corpse let go of it so that others could loot from his guild. The enormous corpse disappeared and they got to see my level 1 ogre, decked out in their fancy drops, dancing for their enjoyment. They flamed me, insulted my mother, and I just... I drank it in. I did. I wish I could tell you otherwise, preacher, but... Oh, I drank it down. So salty, so good. Like Ritz crackers on a birthday. They promised they would report me to the GMs. But after I didn't get a single message from the Game Masters, I decided to make a habit of it. I would camp tunes at all the end bosses I could find, and regularly cycling through them waiting for my chance to strike. The drama I encountered wasn't limited to all things outside my guild, though. On our own guild forums, they opened up a completely anonymous area where we could get things off our chest. Apparently, it was the idea that if everybody had a voice where they could express their misunderstandings and grievances, then we could deal with it like adults. That is a great idea. I would just love to read through all the grievances of every player in an MMO. Oh, and deal with it afterwards? Oh, fantastic. Like, really good fun. Super fun. The idea, was to make helpful suggestions that people might have been afraid to bring to the guild leadership. Oh, your posts are anonymous. I see. You can post whatever you want in there, but it won't say who posted it. Oh, that's even better. That's so good. Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. It seemed like it would be a good idea so that the guild leadership wouldn't have people to pick on. Almost immediately, upon the forum opening, a thread appeared. A terrible, terrible thread. Ranting and raving about me. Calling me shit. Calling me a shit ranger. Calling me a ninja looter. Exposing that I was the one with all the alts harassing other guilds. That I was toxic and should be removed from the guild. Well, I defended myself profusely and profanely. Of course, insults were exchanged and the whole thing was starting to grow out of control. It had been one day. One day. One of the posters chimed in that the whole thread was threatening to tear our guild apart. In-game, the thread was a hot topic of discussion. People were getting really, really upset, and they were taking sides in the debate. A friend of mine even messaged me, sincerely expressing his apologies and trying to comfort me in this trying time. As anyone who had been harassed online as I had would have been feeling really shitty about the things I was reading about myself. He was so heartfelt and sincere. I almost felt bad responding to him with, mate, don't feel bad. I wrote the entire thread. Really. I was the original poster and I responded to my own thread. What the fuck? What a dick. That's really funny though. That's really funny. Just typing away to himself, calling himself a dick. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. You're a fucking piece of shit. Nah, man, I'm good. What? He asked. As he saw the flames engulfing our entire guild. People in the green chat arguing their side in this debate that I had completely created myself. It turned out I really had started some kind of fire, and very soon the arguments about if I was a piece of shit, which I was, I admit, spiraled into open attacks on other people for some reason. By the following morning, not only was the forum closed, our entire guild disbanded. You fucking arsehole. Never trust a 16-year-old with anonymity. Right? That's a lesson we can take from this. Never trust a 16-year-old with anonymity. It is a bit of a Joker moment. Chaos. I just want chaos. All of that would pale in comparison to what I did to my roommate, though. Oh, no. As roommates do, as some of you may know, we shared our account information. After I moved out, I was wise enough to change my password. My roommate, well, obviously he trusted me. So, he knew all about my online nonsense. But I guess it never really occurred to him that my online persona would aim at him. To put a point on how dumb my roommate was. Oh, don't call him dumb because he trusted you, who lived with him. After I bought a cordless Xbox controller, I convinced him that the Xbox was voice controlled. Really? He asked, eyes wide in astonishment. Yeah, I told him. Give it a try. So we booted up Halo, and sure enough, he was outright floored as he shouted, "Run!" And Master Chief started running. "Shoot!" he commanded, and off went a bullet into the wall. He turned to me and said, "Dude, this is the future." His enchantment with the voice control fell off quickly as he couldn't quite figure out how to command Master Chief to aim accurately. "No, no," he would plead. "Lower, lower, too far, back, no." Anyway, at this point, I can't remember what he did to get on my shit list, but I seem to think it had something to do with my girlfriend at the time. Classic. So since the sort of shit couldn't stand, I logged in his epic elite max geared paladin and ran him to the Erudite capital. In the Erudite capital was a dungeon, sort of like in Stormwind, but this dungeon had two entrances. You could walk into the entrance, and that was fine. Or you could drop down a hole, and at the bottom was the final boss of the dungeon. Sadly, the fall into the dungeon was fatal, so it wasn't strictly speaking the most optimal way to enter. On my second computer, I targeted my old roommate's paladin and began casting Bind Soul. Just before it went off, I took the great leap of faith, watched the soulbind land, and watched this great defender of the light become a puddle against the hard stone at the bottom. Over and over and over again. I logged him out, giving him the dignity of not de-leveling him all the way to level 5, where you would stop losing experience from death. Oh god, I forgot about the de-leveling. Oh, that is harsh. That is harsh. Oh my god. That is so harsh. The following day, my former roommate logged in his level 6 naked paladin mid-fall, only to see his coveted gear among the pile of corpses at the bottom of the hole. It took hours for a GM to respond to his petition and yank him out, but sorry, they weren't interested in helping him recover his body or his experience. The GMs back then in EverQuest weren't particularly helpful. It took hours more to find a player willing to help summon the hundreds and hundreds of bodies left behind. Oh, you had to summon all the bodies individually? Until he found the body with all his gear. Oh my god. Not to be deterred, my former roommate decided to regain his levels and retake his mantle as the Omega Paladin of the server. That was until he overestimated his pull ability, died, and upon release realized he had never reset his soulbind location. Watching his paladin again take that fateful fall down the hole. He logged off, uninstalled, and never played EverQuest again. Aww. Oh, it's funny, but it's so sad. Oh. I will say that today, as of writing this tale to you, Preacher, I do feel bad about that one. You should. You should. That's fucking hard. But World of Warcraft was on the horizon. And my new roommate and I were excited to start anew in Azeroth. Mr. Preach, I can honestly say, leveling in Warcraft was a dream compared to what I'd endured in EverQuest, particularly with that 40% XP penalty. But it did have its hardships. It wasn't like today with the babies, where you accept a quest and your minimap lights up with where the things are. No. You'll remember, quest mobs weren't highlighted with their nameplates. We had to figure it out on our own, in the snow, uphill, both ways, or we had to Google it. Shit, I can't remember the name of the website. What was the website we used in Classic? Fuck. God. Thoughtbot. Yeah, Thoughtbot. Either way, really. As my roommate had decided to level up a dwarf hunter, I picked a Nelf druid, thinking it would be the most diverse class. And we grinded out our levels, sometimes playing together, sometimes not. I can't remember what quest it was that had me stumped, both in figuring it out on my own and finding nothing helpful on the interwebs. But I finally resorted to that most terrible of places to ask help. I joined general chat. Does anyone know where to find... Whatever it was I was looking for, I asked. After getting no response initially, I asked again, but this time, a message arrived in the pink. Another druid had already completed the quest, whispered me and told me how she had done it. I thanked her. We started talking. This druid, Bugsy Jiggles, was so nice. So into World of Warcraft. We chatted a while and I added her as a friend. The following day when I logged in again, there she was. And messaged me a, "Hey you, heart." We spent hours talking while we played, talking about our class and about the things we had heard were waiting for us at the end game. The fire god himself awaited us in the biggest mountain of the game. Oh, I miss that feeling. I miss asking people about Ragnaros. Now, before your chat gets the wrong idea, no sex, no romance, none of that. There was never anything romantic or sexual between Bugsy Jiggles and myself. It wasn't like that. For me, I'd found someone who was as enthralled and excited about the game that I found it infectious. She was just a pleasure to play with, joke with, and compete with. Most days we ended up playing together as our characters grew, and as happens, we started talking about our real lives. It turned out Bugsy Jiggles was only a year younger than me, but it turned out she had so much time to play because she suffered from severe early onset rheumatoid arthritis. She was wheelchair bound, and because of the looks she'd get and the bullying she'd suffered for being handicapped, she didn't care for the real world at all. Since she had no great way to exercise because of her condition, she was obese and hated the image she saw in the mirror. Bugsy Jiggles hated the real world, and she believed truly that the real world hated her. I thought about it and realized I'd never really paid attention to the handicapped people around me. In school, I certainly hadn't bullied them. I hadn't done that. I just never gave them a second thought. I'd never reached out to them as a friend or offered to be of any help at all. It just wasn't a part of my world. And obviously, I had problems seeing things outside of my world. Everything was different for her inside of World of Warcraft, though. Inside of WoW, she could turn into a cheetah and sprint across the open plains. She could transform into a ferocious and strong bear and rend her enemies with tooth and claw. She was as tall and fit as a night elf, and she had the power to heal others and take away their pain. And that's what she did all the time. Just as she'd reached out and helped me, she was always helping other players with their quests or do a dungeon. Bugsy Jiggles would provide potions freely and seemed to get the most fun out of the game just being a nice person. I had never seen anything like it. What the fuck is this, I thought to myself. Why would I give a shit about the other plebs? Why would I help noobs? They were shitters. The only thing I'd ever said after a noob had asked me for help was that they should get out of their mom's basement. Insult their dicks. Honestly, I thought she was fucking nuts. A little note on the vanilla druids for your chat, though. I said I picked one because I thought they were the most versatile class. But I was wrong. I was wrong. There was no space chicken form back then. Bear tanking was fucking clown shoes, as we couldn't hold aggro, and cat form really could only be improved by getting your hands on the odd piece of rogue gear. If you were a druid and you wanted to be taken seriously in the endgame PvE world, you better get used to pressing healing touch. That said, the combination of abilities meant that druids could do things solo no other class could. Well, Bugsy Jiggles and I got pretty competitive in our antics. I mean, there was Moonkin. No Moonkin form. That came much later. This is classic, not vanilla. It's very important. Well, wait, we need to get this right. This is vanilla, not classic. Classic WoW played very differently to the original vanilla. Very, very differently. I would see we got pretty competitive in our antics, seeing how many pieces of the tier 0 dungeon set we could collect solo. I'd go into cat farm, stealth down the Blackrock Spire all the way to Mother Smolderweb, then pop into bear form for the epic encounter. Now, while druids were damn near unkillable in bear form as self-healing, our DPS was dog shit. And these encounters would turn into 20 or more minute fights. But it was all worth it to get my wild hard boots before her. I had scored a victory. Get fucked. Got wild hard boots. Woo. Eventually, we did, of course, raid together. And suffered through the horrid DKP systems. But they weren't so bad. After all, she and I were competing with each other for items. And if I didn't get it, I was genuinely happy that it would go to her. We grinded Molten Core together and then the Blackwing layer. But I noticed a trend forming. She started to miss some raid nights. This wasn't like her. What else could she be doing? I messaged her about it. What she told me was like a gut punch. The arthritis was now in her hands. And they were starting to hurt more and more and more. Some days, it was simply too painful for her to game. Or she'd take medication for it, which usually also knocked her out. I knew then the time I have with my friend would not last forever. I couldn't have imagined, or maybe I just didn't want to imagine, how soon that end would come. She started logging in less and less. I'd do days without seeing her, then weeks. Sometimes I'd log in, and after failing to get the "Hey you, less than 3" message, I'd just stand around in Ironforge, nothing sounding like much fun to do. Then it happened. I received a message in the mail. It was from Bugsy Jiggles. She explained that she was really sorry, but she was cancelling her subscription. Playing the game only made her hands hurt more, and she was having more bad days than good. I read the letter through tears welling in my eyes, hating that she was hurting, hating that there was nothing I could do for her, and hating that I was losing such a good friend. I logged to the character selection screen and looked at my druid for a long time. I knew it was the end of his adventures. I thought about just deleting the character. I wanted to understand it wasn't like a hissy fit or anything that I felt that way. It was because she had made the game worth playing for me. Her kindness, her joy, her laughter turned the game from just some game into a place I loved. Without her, my druid just wasn't going to be fun. I didn't delete my druid, instead I re-rolled to a prot warrior. I'd thought about it a lot and I wanted to play something to honour my missing friend. In my nerd mind, it made sense that I would roll a tank and protect my friends from harm. All these years later, I still play a tank because of her. I'd never grief my fellow gamers again. I would never ninja loot their stuff. The roommate I had when I first started WoW, I never sent his hunter on a death loop, although after his fiancée called everything off, I did sleep with her. So maybe I still had some growing to do. You can't just throw that in randomly. You can't just throw that in randomly. That's so much worse. But I did seek out friends and communities who share the same ethos as Bugsy Jiggles. Because those are the people who make this game worth playing. Of all the loot I've gotten through all the dungeons and raids, her whispering my poor lost druid will always be the best drop I ever got. So, Preacher, that is how you end up in a guild full of carers. I hope you like my story of villainy and redemption. As it happens, if you hang around Ironforge long enough, you might just see a druid in full storm rage appear, still waiting at the mailbox for the letter that begins, "Hey you, less than 3. Cheers to you and your chat. There's a gut feeling happening over here that there is no redemption. Villainy, redemption, and then villainy again. The full circle of life is complete. 0 redemption. Fuck off. I mean... so close. Yeah, really, really close. Okay, all right. Let's hope the next one's a little less hateful. All right, Zyrothenia. Oh, there's a name I haven't seen around in a while. Warlock extraordinaire. You, Mr. Zy. I was kidnapped. Okay, this should be much better. I was kidnapped. Sure. Let's go with I was kidnapped. That should be fine. This should be fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. It should be good. Hello, Preacher and chat. I have followed this channel for maybe 12 months. It's all because of your Final Fantasy content. I love your videos and I love Drama Time. I want to share my story with you because the journey through playing Final Fantasy XIV for almost 6 years, I had an eventful amount of stories and things that have happened to me. But that would be a huge story. So today I will tell you about one of them, and it is how I got kidnapped to Team EU. Before that, some backstory to set the scene and understand how this event happened. Okay. First of all, when I started in FF in 2016, I had multiple issues regarding playing this game. First, I was 16 years old. And I had extraordinarily strict parents who hated games. So in the school days, I was only allowed to play video games for 1 day a week. That's more than the contract that we had last week's drama story. So you could look at it that way. You could look at it that way. Second of all, I had a very old laptop and crap internet. So I was very, very slow, and I would experience the long loading times just to teleport or appear in a duty, slowing everyone with me as well. My third issue is that I never knew that FF needed a subscription every month, and that due to my lack of knowledge towards gaming and MMOs, and because English is not my first language, I had never cottoned on to this information. I only managed to buy the game because I got help from my brother, who had a credit card to buy the game from Steam after I begged him for days. The thing is, my brother was studying abroad, and he only comes home for holidays. So when I discovered after my 30 days free in FF that I needed to pay again, I just couldn't. I had the money, but no card, since I was only 16. And yes, I can't ask my parents because of the devil living inside of all video games. I loved FF. I loved it so much. It was and it has been my favorite game. Formed a group of friends that were talking the same language as me, and we were the same gender. All girls. Oh God, an all-girl free company? Uh-oh. I bet you're all lalas. Every single last one of them are evil potatoes. Oh no, where? All lalas, you know it. It's a war fiesta. As for the sub-problem, I always saved my money and asked my brother to charge my Steam wallet every time he comes to a holiday so I can play for a couple of months. Or most of the time, my kind friend would pay my sub because she felt lonely and wanted someone to play with. Ah, I would never pay for someone else. Fucking poor. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Fuck you. I'm lying. I have paid for other people's subs. I've totally done that. My friends got used to me not being active. They knew about my internet, about my parents, and also not able to pay my sub. So if I disconnected or disappear randomly, they knew that was the norm. One day, for example, we were doing the level 70 dungeon where at the end you will fight a well-known villain. God, the FF story writers still maintaining lack of spoilers in their stories. You know how weird this is to get used to after reading WoW stories for like 5 years? Is the FF guys will still not spoil anything in any tale. It's the one with the boss. You know the one. The one with the guy. Smile and keep it real. I was the tank and my friends were with me. But at the door boss, I disconnected and couldn't get back. I later on discovered that my mother had shut off our Wi-Fi because I had forgotten to do the laundry. She turned off the internet in the house for 2 days. Oh, come on, man. Do the fucking laundry. Right? Do the laundry. Jesus Christ. It should have been a fucking week. You lazy cow. Get in there and do your fucking chores, right? I've got to do my chores. You do your chores. Gaming before job's done. Absolutely not. You had one job. Should have been a month. Make it a month. That's it. No internet. If this happened to another friend, I would be worried. But because it was me, my friends knew that it was just my mother or my bad Wi-Fi, so they didn't bother at all. I don't mind it, but it felt a distance. That what if something bad happened to me? Would my online friends care? I did have an occasion when I got sick and had a surgery and was absent for 2 weeks, but no one noticed. I can't blame anyone, though. Badge. So our tale really begins in the middle of Stormblood. My friends were talking in a social chat app about something, and they were like, "Did you receive the glam from Zarathenia?" Another one responded, "Yeah, I did." And the others as well were agreeing, but I was confused. Who the fuck was Zarathenia? And what glam was it? And why didn't I have it? I want glam. Well, you see, Preacher and your audience, Zarathenia was a guy who transferred from an EU server because he got annoyed with the drama that happened to him and he wanted to change homes. And one of my friends introduced... Okay, so you got a free company full of girls and now sugar daddies around. This is fine. This is totally fine. Yeah, this is great. Not a problem. It's all good. An FC full of la-la girls and then fucking Ross has shown up. Fantastic. And here comes Ross. He was tall and muscular, wearing a yellow chicken head. One of my friends had introduced him to our server since he talked to her in the app. Zarathenia was a very kind person. And he was an omnicrafter. And well, every new glam that drops, he will craft them and send it to all the friends as little gifts. So my friends were all receiving little gifts. Except me. Because I never logged in. I had never met him. But I typed in the group chat, will you introduce me to Zarathenia? I want gifts. At least you weren't subtle about it. That's what she actually said. I want gifts. Introduce me. I want stuff. Come on. It was a joke, obviously. Can I get a fucking yay or nay? Was that a joke? Will you introduce me? I want gifts. That's a fucking nay. A joke, unless. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's a resounding nay from the audience. It was a joke, obviously. I'm joking. However, When I logged in, I had a mail from my friend, and there was a glam attached to it with a little message that said, "This is from Zyrathenia. He knew about you, so he sent me 2 glams, and 1 is for you." I was shocked. A person I had never met caring to give me a little gift. No one ever treated me this nicely. Oof. Oof. The eyes of cringe. So I met Zyrathenia by my friend, and it was a bit awkward because once we met, my friend left the party so we could get acquainted. I was nervous because I don't like talking to boys. You'll accept the gifts, won't you? Oh, you didn't say, no, it's okay. I haven't met them yet. It wouldn't be right for me to accept a gift from a total stranger. Didn't have that thought running through your head, did you? No, you didn't. You went, nom, 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 nom. That's not the response that came in. It's like, wait, maybe we should say hi before I start accepting the charity of this man. No. I don't like talking to boys. They always aim to flirt and get close to girls or whatever. They only want one thing. I mean, until they have that thing, they're all right. But Zyrathenia, he was a very kind person. He never flirted with me. He never said something that would make a girl uncomfortable. He was a good friend. Yep. That's why he's sending all the girls gifts. Because he's just such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. Oh, he's just amazing. Yeah. Just what a cool dude. He and I eventually became very good friends. And let's see how it works out. It might be legit. He might just be, maybe he's a kindly old man. Could be. He and I eventually became very good friends. I enjoyed every moment I spent with him, which was mostly talking and chilling near the Free Company house or his house while he was crafting. So we got to know each other very well. We even knew each other's FF accounts, and the story of how we knew it was a bit hilarious. What? We knew each other's FF account. It was all because in a Christmas event in FF, you needed to play a song correctly or otherwise the song will sing horribly. And you needed a specific score to hit the requirement. But because of my bad connection, my song was gigabad. Zyrathenia offered that he will log into my account and do the event for me while I log into his account to watch. This is so bad. I feel like you're stuck in quicksand. I really do. I feel like you're in the fucking quicksand of naivety and just being sucked down inch by slow inch into a pit. I hope it works out well, but we'll see. But I mean, the story is I was kidnapped, so we'll see. But still, I felt very sad seeing all my friends and Free Company joining through all the fun, while I only got to log in for one day. So I promised that when I finish high school, I will be able to play all day with all of them. However, things don't stay the same. My high school exams were close, so I was absent for nearly a month. And during that month, Zyrathenia kept sending a weekly in-game mail saying, "We're all waiting for you. You can do it. Good luck on the exams." It made me so happy when I came back. But I didn't notice back then my friends and FC had fallen apart and there was 2 separate groups. I knew of the thing very late and I felt sad about it. There was a drama happening between my friends. I wish I knew the full detail or at least remember, but I wasn't there all the time, so I can't tell the full story. But the TLDR is there was another guy who went between my friends and told every single one of them that he loved them and would date them after he broke up with one. He goes to another and tells her lies about the previous one and made the problems between my close friends. So he's playing the short game, whereas Zyrathenia's long game, right? You can see the difference. One is Raven, one is Ross, right? You can see the difference that's happening there, right? Different game. Playing a different game, yeah? Different game. They look the same, but one's playing Doom, one's playing Apex, right? We got all this. The issue was resolved after a long time, but I still felt that the air wasn't the same. My friends are no longer the same group as before, so here I am alone again, even though I was finally able to play every single day. So the only person who didn't change, was my rock, my foundation, my Zarathenia. And I continued to play and spent time with him like always. One day, Zarathenia announced that he was leaving. He was to return to the EU servers. Why? Why? Will there still be gifts? He said, I just can't handle this North American latency. I miss how it plays in the EU. The PvP queue in North America was so bad because he needed to play late night just to get a few matches. Zarathenia was a very competitive player in PvP and aims for ranking, so that's why it triggered him at the time he couldn't play the ranking as it should be. There were several reasons as well, so at the end, it made sense that he had to leave, and I respected his choice. But then he said something else. Will you come with me? Will you join me on this adventure? Gosh. To be honest, I wanted to, of course. I was so motivated after I heard from him that the PvP queues were as fast in the EU because I like PvP. I can't. I had two reasons. First, I still didn't have a credit card and transferring fees don't accept Steam payment for some reason. Second, can't leave my friends, can I? Maybe? No. They're my family. But seeing the situation of them not together anymore, I don't know. So I told Zarathenia that I will wait. I will wait a couple of months until they open the Light Data Center. And with that, a free transferring will be open, so I could join for free, maybe. Okay. Well, this is goodbye. See you, I guess. Yeah. Bye. After that conversation, I logged off the game because I knew he would be busy preparing his things and doing the transferring thing, and I went to my kitchen in real life to prepare a meal. But later on, or so, about half an hour maybe, I received a text message. It was from Zarathenia. I'm sorry. With 5 dots. I don't know what to make of 5 dots, I thought. What does 5 dots mean? Confused, I replied, is something the matter? I'm sorry. Now with 3 dots. Forgive me. So confused. For what? What happened? He explained, I'm sorry. When I transferred to the new server and looked at my friends list, I couldn't bear seeing that your name was empty. I felt lonely. So I've logged your account in Mog Station and moved your character to my server. That's ooh. There was a line, right? There was a line you were riding there. And now you're really like gone past that line. Like, I don't think you can see the line anymore. I think you went over that in a Boeing 747. I think you went way over that line. Really far. I was shocked. Wait. You transferred my character to your server? In the EU? Yes. 2 dots. What about my house, my free company, my furnitures? Because you need to delete those and do some things before transferring. I've done it all. I've deleted your house. I've left the free company and done everything. And I promise you, I will pay for everything you have lost. This is a really bad day. This is content. You should have been a streamer. This is a really good thing to happen. This is a really good thing if this was to happen on stream. Just saying. General. This is so sad this went undocumented until now. I was speechless. But to be honest, kind of happy. It was a shock. But also, if your man does not do that for your lady, it was a red flag. So, in my mind, it was kind of a smooth move. And I'm happy that he did it. Gross. Oh, no. A smooth move. Girls, where are we at on the smoother meter? Where are we at? Oh, honey. Oh, God. Girls, where are we at on the smoother meter on this? I think we're down the bottom of a well where the fucking girl in the ring lives, right? That's how far down the well we are. We're pretty broken glass. Negative 10,000. Oh, Jesus Christ. The only thing that's fucking living down the bottom of this well is literally Lovecraftian horrors, right? This is where Pinhead lives and fucking Chucky the voodoo doll. This is bad. Oh, God, she's... No way. And yes, you may be surprised, but I'm in the EU since then. And I enjoy it here. And yes, Zyrathenia did give me a new house, bigger than before, and we were a very close partners since then. We since then would do every new patch and every expansion and every story together, and we care for each other. I don't like this. This feels wrong in so many ways. So wrong. About my friends. Well, it was hard to explain how I suddenly disappeared to another server, lol. So I had to make stories. And eventually they moved to the EU in a matter of a year or so. Are you in the crawlers? You live in our house? So that's my story, my friends. There might be some details and gaps that I didn't explain, but it's a long tale. So if you want to ask about anything or about why things happened, I'm willing to respond. I just hope you enjoyed my tale. Smiley face. I want to be clear, the smiley face is here. Look, there it is. There's the smiley face. There it is. I mean, I have many questions. Many questions. Like, that's not a smooth move. I've been kidnapped is the tale. I don't know where to go. She seems happy, but is this like manipulative? It feels that way. This is horrors. Yeah, this is like, I mean, I don't know where we go. That's a stalker success story. Nothing sexual appears to have happened. There seems to have been no I guess that's our question. Are you guys like dating and shit? Or what? Or is he on like some 10-year plan? Right? That's what we need to know. Was there something more going on? She's a minor? Not in the... Oh, she's from the US then, isn't she? So she is a minor. Yeah, she's not a minor in the EU. In some EU countries. This is very confusing. She was 16 at the start. Yeah, 16 is not a minor in the UK. This is this is all unsettling. I think we all feel unsettled. I think that's where we are. It is in the US. She's 22 now. But she's been there since she's 16. 16 during Stormblood. So that was a while ago. So when did they move? They were level 70. Okay, we're getting a bit like... She's EU and she played right. So EU varies. I don't know, man. I think we all want answers at this point. We're starting to form some sort of detective agency at this point, right? I'm kind of worried. Some people are starting to like Google things at this point. It's a story, that's for sure. We are concerned. Yes, I think that's fair. We are concerned. Rightfully so, I believe. I believe we are rightfully concerned as to get some answers on this situation. So I leave it to Bex. Yes. Blink twice if you need help. 16 of mine is legal age of consent. Backwards as fuck UK for you. Yeah, I mean, we all checked at the time is I'm not going down that road. Let's put it that way. Let's do that. But that will bring us to the end of... oh, God, FF14 is down. Woohoo! Brings the end of drama for this Saturday session. I have 2 more tales here. But that's fine. That's the way it goes. Good choice. I'm going to leave that there. If you decide to answer any of these questions, that's okay. It's not... Yeah, it's back up now. Steam kicked me out, which was a hell of a thing. All right. Let's log in quick and do some stuff.